MP and Primary Care and Public Health Minister Neil O'Brien joining me. Thank you for coming on, Minister. Is this extra additional new funding, or is this money we already heard about? Good morning.
No, this is extra funding on top of the money that local authorities already have. It will mean, as well as the 400 million extra, it will mean that we've increased funding for drug and alcohol addiction treatment by about 40% between 2020 and 2024.
What will the money be spent?
It will take the number of people who are in treatment up to a record high, because we know that about half of crime is caused by people with addictions going out there and doing acquisitive crime to feed their addiction. And also, I know from my work before I was an MP, I did about 6 years working with people who were street homeless, and a lot of them had addictions. And honestly, the pitiful state of some of those people was a horrible thing to see. And this will help free some of those people from a life of terrible addiction that is awful for them, leads to people dying very early, and also causes chaos for the community and leads to lots of crime.
And in a little more detail, will this be spent actually on building new centres or providing staff or facilities? What will the cash go on, Minister?
It will go on a mix of things, primarily more staff and investment in the quality of services so that we can get more people out of drug addiction. It also involves, in different places, rolling out new types of treatment. There's a new treatment called Buvidal, which is starting to roll out, where people who have got really serious addictions can come in for an injection once a month that can help them to stay clean, to stay off of drugs, and starting to do things in new ways. So, for example, in some places, it will see the drug workers working 24/7 in custody suites, so that when people are coming in, being arrested, who've got addictions, got drug and drink problems, they can be straight into treatment and referred into those services. So it would be both increasing the total amount of treatment across the country, but also doing some new things to try and crack this problem.
How will we know the money has been well spent? How will we judge the results?
So I think one of the things that I will be using to judge the result of this is whether we can see a reduction in recidivism, in the number of people being rearrested, ending up back in jail, who've come out with addictions, that we see drops in acquisitive crime. Community neighbourhood crime is down about 24% in the last year, but it's still much, much too high. It's a major nuisance, not just in my constituency, but across the whole country. And so one of the main things we want to see coming from this money is a reduction in the number of people getting back into jail because they've continued in a life of acquisitive crime to fund drug and drink addictions.
While I've got the benefit of you on the line, perhaps I can put to you another couple of stories or issues. You are a health minister, so how do you react to the story that Dr. Sarah Hughes, who became chief executive of the charity Mind last month, says the country's mental health is probably the worst it has ever been? How do you respond to that?
So, firstly, we, through our huge investment in mental health and a dramatic increase in funding that we've made there, are rolling out new services. I've got about 100 new mental health ambulances coming, so people who have really acute mental health problems can get appropriate treatment more quickly. But I do think it is also about trying to tackle some of those underlying things that can make people get into mental health problems. That's one of the reasons why I think it was right to make the big investment that we made in protecting people's living standards from the huge inflation in energy prices that we've seen over the last year, hence spending tens of billions on that to protect living standards, because we know that when people are under pressure, when they're under the cosh, that is terrible for mental health. So we're both trying to tackle mental illness directly through what we do at the Department of Health by investing in better services, more parity of treatment for mental and physical health problems, but we are also doing things to tackle the things that put people under pressure and can lead to mental health problems. And of course, the thing that we were just talking about, the drink and drugs problems, they are hugely related to serious mental health problems, and by getting more people into those kind of treatments, that will also have benefits in terms of preserving those people's mental health. Again, a lot of the addicts that I've met over the years for both drink and drugs, that gives them terrible mental health problems, and by tackling that, and also tackling, by the way, the underlying causes of the drug trade and crime, by having the 20,000 extra police officers, that manifesto commitment that we will hopefully have delivered early by March. I think we will have had those 20,000 extra police in place. We can tackle the crime, we can tackle the drugs, and also put the treatment in place, which we know that drugs are such a big part of mental illness.
On the subject of issues with alcohol. Can I ask you, do you support the decision by Lancashire Police yesterday to reveal some of the background to the case of Nicola Bulley?
So as we have a live missing persons case going on, and as I've never been a police officer, I'm not involved in this investigation. I think one thing that would not make this very, very difficult situation better is for, at this point, ministers to be sticking their oar in. In due course, I'm sure there will be a look at everything that's happened in this investigation.
I'm only asking whether you think it was a good idea to reveal that this woman has alcohol issues.
I don't know for what reason it's been done, or what the police want that to lead to in terms of how they are going about this search. What we can do is, as a health minister, is make sure that for people in this situation, we have better treatment for people with alcohol conditions, if that's the case here. We are also doing things in terms of menopause. We are also making HRT medicines and things like that cheaper as part of our women's health strategy to help those who are going through issues around that as well. So we can tackle, as a government, some of those problems that are raised by this case. But I think I don't want to get into sort of second guessing something that is a live police investigation.
Lastly, the former head of MI6, Alex Younger, said we need to wake up to the China threat. You are a well-known sceptic of the country. You were once sanctioned by China, and you co-founded the China Research Group in Parliament. Are we taking any threat seriously enough, in your view, Minister?
I think we absolutely do need to take it seriously, and the kind of spying balloons that we've seen over America show you a more expansionist and more concerning China. I am glad that the current government, the current Prime Minister, does take this deadly seriously as an issue. As you say, I am still banned from going anywhere in China. They told me that they'd seized all my assets in China. That's not going to get them very far because I don't actually have any. But no, we absolutely, as a government, we do take this very seriously, and we've changed our posture on this a lot, and I've been very reassured by that.
Grateful for your time. Thank you, Minister Neil O'Brien, Primary Care and Public Health Minister, appearing here on LBC. The time 3 minutes before 8. Let's pick up. Actually, we'll pick up about the conversation I've just had. Paul in Lincoln, you want to speak about this, the Chief Executive of Mind, talking about the emotional mental health crisis in the country. Your reaction to that? Is the government doing enough?